Our next session is with Dr. Mark Jenkins and Jacob König. So we're just waiting for them to come into the session. And they're going to talk to us about a career in research. So, here's Mark. Hello.
I believe Jacob is just joining at the moment. Yep.
Here he is. So I'll just introduce you to everyone. Everyone here is Dr. Mark Jenkins and Jacob König, who is one of our master's students, who's also a PhD student and a lecturer, very busy person. So over to you both.
That's great. Thanks very much. Okay, so yeah, as we said, I don't have a huge amount of time with you here today, so I really just want to give you a kind of overview of my journey into a career in research. I've kind of hit most of the key programs and things out there that I think will give you a pretty good idea of what some of your options are. So I did my PhD at Glasgow Caledonian University. So I guess that's first step into the world of research was through a PhD program. Sort of towards the end of that program, an opportunity came up to join part of a knowledge transfer partnership. So for those of you who don't know what a knowledge transfer partnership or KTP is, it's essentially a joint project that you would work, you'd be based out in industry and you'd work alongside a university partner to deliver whatever the project happened to be. So my research is all mainly focused around computer vision and machine learning. So I went out to work with a company who had no experience in the technical world at all. So no computer vision, no computing skills whatsoever, to be perfectly honest. And it was my job basically to facilitate their transition towards becoming a data company where they could take advantage of all of the data that was available to them. So KTP is great for a number of reasons. As I said, it got me out of academia in the sense that I wasn't just doing research for the sake of research anymore. I was doing research to really be benefiting a company that I was out, that I was a part of and that I was working with. And essentially that knowledge transfer partnership really opened a number of doors for me in terms of my future career. And it's very much what brought me back towards academia where I am now. But as I said, the main focus of today is to kind of give you an idea of some of the routes that you could take if research is something that really interests you and if that's where you want to take your career. So as I said, the first one is KTP. And by the end of my KTP, which is fairly common for a lot of KTP associates, the company that you've been working with are very likely to keep you on or try and keep you on anyway. I think the main reasons that people don't stay with their companies after they finish their knowledge transfer partnerships is that another company's stolen them. So, you know, you do end up in quite a good position where you should be, you know, incredibly employable by the end of a knowledge transfer partnership. But it's not the same as like a typical graduate scheme. You're not going out to work for a company who necessarily already have their sort of vision for what they want their company to be from a computing sense. You're much more likely to be going into an organization where they have a very specific problem to solve, and it's your job as the KTP associate to solve that problem. So it is a very research focused position. And as I said, essentially off the back of that first KTP, the company I was working with decided to start their own research and development department. And I was hired as the manager for that department. So that was my first sort of major research role, I guess. But as I said, it's not unusual for people who do knowledge transfer partnerships to end up in a position like that within the company. And in fact, it's the ideal outcome as far as the people who fund KTP are concerned. So if you're looking to step sort of into the research world, but would like to be involved in industry, then I think KTP is something that you should really be having a serious look at. So to go on from there, at that point, as I said, I was research and development manager at Gekotech, which was the company I worked for at the time. And then we had a second KTP project, and we also continued to work quite closely with companies or organizations like the Data Lab. So we'd work with the universities and we provide Data Lab projects. I'm sure a number of you have had that experience where you've had your master's projects maybe been in partnership with a university. With an industrial organization. And that's how I met Jacob. So Jacob was doing his MSc at the time. I'm not going to talk too much about that because he's going to tell you about his experience in a moment. And then we managed to get funding from the Data Lab to run an industrial doctorate program. So that allowed Jacob to take a very, very similar path to my path and step away from academia slightly and come into an industrially focused research position. But I think what I'll do just now is I'll pass over to Jacob, who will be able to talk a bit more specifically about his experience, and then I'll come back at the end.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I was in your footsteps. What was it? 3 years ago. I did my MSc in Big Data Technologies at Glasgow Caledonian University, and a lot of thanks again to the Data Lab for funding that, because that gave me the incentive to move abroad. Because originally I did my undergrad in Germany, and then I had the opportunity to come here and study, and that basically started my career in research. So again, during the MSc, I set my modules and do what an MSc student does, or studying all sort of things. But then at the end, the Data Lab organized the industrial placements. But I was also approached by my current boss and Mark, because they had the opportunity available for an industrial PhD, also with Data Lab. Now, this obviously was quite good for me because it keeps my connection to the Data Lab going, and I can do work in a field I enjoy working in, because I really started enjoying working with data. So I sadly did not take part in the industrial placement because I did a research-based thesis within the company, so the one that Mark was manager of. So I was having one foot in the door already. And yeah, so I was doing a research-based thesis. And then obviously Mark liked it, Gordon, my manager, liked it. And then I was offered the industrial PhD program. And now the Data Lab obviously has been part of that for a long time, or ever since my master's and my PhD. But yeah, then we worked in the company, and I was doing research, as Mark said, not just for research sake, but we are working towards an actual problem in the computer vision space. So I'm mainly using deep learning. Yeah, and this has then led me to still do my PhD, but I've applied for a lecture position, and now I'm a lecturer at GCU, same as Mark. So we went around again, came back to the uni, but we're still both participating and doing research, which is probably a very big part of why we enjoy this job so much, other than the teaching. But yeah, this was my path. Back to Mark talking about.
That's brilliant. Thanks, Jacob. So yeah, really just wanted to get Jacob's perspective on that, because as I said, he's been through these programs. He's been a Data Lab master's student, and then he's gone on and done an industrial doctorate program all through the Data Lab as well. So, you can see that there's a very clear route of progression through the Data Lab program if you do want to explore that. I'm sure that there'll be links made available to you where they post things like where the industrial doctorates are advertised. But yeah, I mean, essentially just to bring this full circle, I guess, that was me out in industry for a while, got to work with some great people, but still within the world of research. So I still, kept my connections with the university, met people like Jacob, where we brought him through from MSc right through. He's at the very late stages of his PhD now, and has already joined the department as a lecturer, which is excellent. And now, essentially, what this has allowed me to do, and this is the bit of my career that I enjoy so much, is that now I'm not only just in a company working on one particular project, as working from the academic side in a research position, that means I can work with, several companies, all working in very, very likely to be computer vision or machine learning focused, because that's my background, but the application of that can be completely different. So essentially now I've got projects that date back to the structural condition monitoring, which ties very strongly to what I did in industry. But I've also got work with climate justice projects. There's high voltage condition monitoring projects, potentially even some work in the pharmaceutical industry coming up. So, the options really are vast once you get into an academic position, if research is where you're looking to go. But on the other hand, if you are interested in things like KTPs or industrial doctorates, these are excellent ways to get yourself embedded within a company, and they really do put you in a position to make yourself an incredibly valuable member of that company, so that the company almost can't afford to lose you. They need to keep you in the company to embed all of that knowledge that you've developed throughout your time. And I found that a really successful route into allowing me to step out of academia into industry, but keep the research focus that that's the bit about the job that I really have passion for. So if you have any like questions about KTP or other potential opportunities for getting into research, I'm sure that you'll be able to get my contact details as part of the event. Does that sound okay?
Yeah, absolutely. We can circulate your contact details and also field any questions.
I usually end up with a handful of emails after looking for KTP opportunities and things like that. So I'm more than happy to help people, point people in the right direction. If you're interested in a career in research, then I'll do anything I can to help you out.
Well, I think that's fantastically informative. We are going to be running a showcase event in November on research opportunities, because we know that there are quite a lot of applications due in January. So there's across Britain, there are opportunities. Unless you've got anything else to add, Heather or Cheryl, because they're the experts in industrial doctorates from the data lab point of view. That was fantastically informative. Thank you very much for your time. It's lovely to catch up with you again, Jacob, and to hear that things are moving in an upward direction. Well done. So,
thanks for the data lab.
Yeah, it's a lot of work. It's all down to you. So thank you very much, both Mark and Jacob. Thank you.
Yep, no problem. Thanks very much for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, bye-bye.
Brilliant.
Okay, everyone, that's really interesting. So research is a really valid option. It's got many different dynamics and dimensions. We're now getting ready to introduce Caroline Crocker, who is Workforce Development Manager at Public Health Scotland. I think we'll see her in a moment. And she's going to give our keynote talk today. Just going to share screens. Okay. Do we have Caroline? I think she's here, but she must have some, she must be just taking a bit of time to connect. So we're really running through an incredible amount of material here, from employability, how to boost your profile online, research options, and just to remind you what I said at the beginning of the session, that we're recording this event, and we'll send you a link so that you can look through it and pick out any bits of particular interest.